Hi everyone, it's great to see you. It is a beautiful day outside, and because it is mid-March, it's time to take a walk through the garden and see what needs to be trimmed. So the first thing that I'm going to be looking at today is the Althea Rose of Sharon. Rose of Sharon blooms on that year's growth, so it's a good time now to give it a hard prune if you want to, because it's going to send out new shoots this spring and the flowers will set bud on that. So you're really safe when you prune your Rose of Sharon right now. So I'm noticing that we have lots of little branches, and some of them crisscross like this one and rub against each other. You don't want any of your branches to be rubbing on each other. So I'm going to take out some of those smaller branches, and some of them are just like coming into the path and going to grow and poke my eye and that kind of thing. So I also want to do that. Because this is a standard form, if I see any little twigs starting from down low here where I want to keep this all nice and smooth like a trunk, I also take those off. So here we go. So I've taken off some of the small little branches that were down here crossing. Now I'm looking at the bigger picture here. This particular type of Rose of Sharon gets to be about 10 to 12 feet tall. So we're probably up to a good 8 feet here. But I can bring that back each year as much as I feel like. What I want to do when I'm pruning back the size here is to see that there are these little bumps on the branches. And I'm going to find a bump to cut right above, and I'm going to choose a bump that I want to have the branch continue out, going that direction. So if I'm going to take this off because it's kind of hanging over my path, I could choose this bump, which would then send a branch out here, or this bump that's going to send it up there. And I like the idea of it going up better than coming down and blocking the branch. So really what you're doing is you're just looking carefully at each branch. So I'm going to look carefully and then choose where I want to do the cut. And overall, I'm bringing the size down. It grows a lot each year. So I am not worried about taking it back too far. I mean, I wouldn't want to prune it down to here, but you're good if you're taking it down a third to even a half of its size. Okay, so if you take a look at this now, you're going to see that we still have some strong structure here. I kept the largest branches here, and then I have some branches that come out. Some of the little tiny ones I completely removed. That's absolutely fine. And I could even go in and make it a little bit more bare bones because I don't want too many little crossing pieces in there. But I like this much better. It looks much more in control. So let's continue on. So here we are at the other Rose of Sharon, also Althea, and this is in front of a window. It's in front of a window on purpose because we wanted it here for privacy. So I'm going to trim this one a little bit differently. This one I actually want it to get as tall as it can, as quickly as it can. In which case, I'm not as interested in bringing it down short-wise, but I want it to stay relatively narrow and not grow out over the pathway too much. And yeah, it looks like it's not going to grow out over the pathway now, but it probably will put on that much growth this year. And then it'll be brushing people as they come by. So let me give you a little look at the bumps on here that I'm going to be trimming at. So here are these little bumps on the branches here that I'm going to be looking for to make my cuts. So I have this bump sticking out this way, so that means a bud would begin that direction. Let's see, here's one here, so that means the branch would go that way. So I'm going to clip above where I think a branch might continue. And remember, it's not the end of the world if you make a mistake. I'm going to take out my crisscrossing branches. So one of the things that I'm trying to do, I'm waving this branch here. So this branch, like, it's going into my obelisk. I don't want it to go into my obelisk. So even though it's not a bad direction, it's still one that I'm going to choose to take out because I'm trying to keep certain things free. Your Rose of Sharon here, for those of you who have had Rose of Sharon, you know that they are vigorous growers. And even though this one doesn't get as tall as some of them, it still gets pretty tall and it's still going to put on tons of growth. Now your hummingbirds are going to love this. They love all of your Rose of Sharon blossoms. Here's one that's really twisted, touching each other here. I'm like, which one should I keep? I think I'm going to go with that one. There we go. And if you feel like you pruned it back too much, I can almost guarantee you didn't, because every year I look at it and think, yeah, I pruned it back too much. And then I get to the end of the season and there's branches everywhere. Okay. When you're doing this, you might want to wear eye protection. It is very easy to miss some of these little branches. They end up in your blind spot and you really can poke your eye. So although I'm not, you should go put on some glasses real quick. Okay, this one's almost crossing there. I sort of like how it is though. And I want it giving protection, privacy from the window, but I don't want it hitting the window either because it's going to just keep getting longer and longer. So some of these back here, I'm going to shorten. Keep the ones right in the middle. That will be better for that. Okay, but I love how tall it got. Now, when you think this is only year 2, and I swear when I planted it, it probably was about this tall. So it's put on a lot of growth. After you get it to where you think you want it, step back because usually you'll see something else. So these are the only 2 Roses of Sharon that I have. Thanks so much for joining me, and I'll see you in the next video.